Dear students, please do hurry and join our live class so that we can start our live session. Please do hurry and join our live class so that we can start the live session. Join our live session so that we can start the live class. Before we dive into today's session, make sure to subscribe our YouTube channel, Edwins, if you have not already, so that you will never miss the live classes or new educational videos. And one important announcement for the board students, you may visit our website edwins.in and purchase our premium version at a very low cost, where you can get unlimited study materials, mock test series, and recorded classes. So visit our website edwins.in and join our live class so that we can start the live session. A very good evening to all of you and welcome to another live class of Edwins. Today we will discuss about the reproduction part 1. So what is reproduction? Reproduction is a biological process which is essential for every living organism to produce their offsprings. So it is a biological process. First of all, it is a biological process. And what is the significance or why it is important? It is important because to sustain life on Earth, as well as to continuity of gene flow of the population or living organisms. So this is the importance and this is the reproduction. So reproduction occurs in two types or two forms, that is asexual reproduction and the next one is the sexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction, what is the asexual reproduction and what is sexual reproduction? In asexual reproduction, the primary difference is here one parent is required to produce the offspring, but in sexual reproduction, two parents are required. Okay. Next, in sexual reproduction, no gamete formation. But in sexual reproduction, this is involved the formation of gamete, that is two type of gamete, the male and female both. Number 3, that is in asexual reproduction, the offsprings are identical to the parents. The offsprings are identical to their parent. But in sexual reproduction, they may be identical or may not. Most of the time, they are not as identical as their parents. May be identical or differ from their parents. So these are the main differences between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. This is the two form of reproduction occurs in all living organisms. So today we will discuss about the asexual reproduction. So the asexual reproduction occurs in 6 forms. What are they? They are fission, budding, fragmentation, spore formation, regeneration, and vegetative propagation. So we will discuss one by one. First is the fission. Fission is nothing but the process by splitting the organism. These fission are two types. One is the binary fission and another one is multiple fission. One is binary fission and another one is multiple fission. In binary fission, if this is an organism, it will reproduce by first doubling the nucleus. Okay, and in next step it will divide it into 2 new organisms. So this is the process of binary fission. In which organism it will observe? The example is amoeba. Okay, so in binary fission, simple division of the organism into 2 new organisms. Next one is the multiple fission. What is multiple fission? Multiple fission, from the name we can conclude or we can guess that the number of organisms produced in multiple or the number is more than 2. So the example, if this is an organism, this occurs first. The example of it is Plasmodium. Okay, this is responsible for the malaria. Okay, so in Plasmodium, this is called scisont. Okay, which contain a single nucleus. This is nucleus. In next step, it will divide its nucleus and form multiple nucleus. In next step, it will produce some larval structure and then burst out from the cyzont, which are known as merozoites. These are merozoites. Okay, this is the example of plasmodium in multiple fission. So fission are two types. One is binary fission, another one is multiple fission. The binary fission example is amoeba and the multiple fission example is plasmodium. The next one is the budding. What is budding? Next one is the budding. So this is occurs example in hydra. Okay, what happened in budding? If this is a cell, this is the nucleus and this is the vacuole. In next step, it will form and develop the nucleus or doubling the nucleus. And in next step, it is totally form the two nucleus. These are the vacuoles. This is the vacuole and this is nucleus. Okay. And in next step, and it will detach from the mother body. This is the mother body. Okay, this is the starting of developing bud. This is the bud. This is full grown bud. Okay, if in your exam the question maybe came that is what is budding or give a short note on budding, try to draw such schematic diagram which will better representation in your exam. So this is the formation of new hydra. Okay, so this is the process of budding. The next one is the fragmentation. What is fragmentation? That the organism get divided into fragments. That is the fragmentation. Okay. In fragmentation, this is example is Spirogyra. Okay, this is the example. So what happens in Spirogyra? We know that Spirogyra look like a simple ribbon-like structure and it have the spiral chlorophyll. The lamellae of the Spirogyra, like in this region, get thin, and with the water current it will divide into two parts. Okay, and these two parts get into the cell division and grown a full organism. To grow into a full organism. When we in case of when we are bathing in the pond, some greeny ribbon like or thread like structure we may observe. These are the spirogyra. So this is the fragmentation in spirogyra. The next one is spore formation. That is spore formation. So spore is the actually reproductive cells which are very much efficient and can survive to a extreme condition, environmental condition like extreme heat, extreme cold, like this. This spore formation occurs in pteridophyta, bryophyta, fern, pteridophyta, example the fern, mucor. Okay, so how the spore formation occurs? In case of fern, we know the leaf are like this. Okay, and they contain the downside of the leaf contain a gland-like structure like this. These are called sorus, and these sorus are contain spores. Contain spores, and these spores are get scattered. They are very lightweight, and scattered through the air. So in case of this is fern. In case of mucor or bread mold, they are okay. These are called sporangium. Okay, and they have some root-like structure also, which is known as hyphae. So this is the structure of a bread mold. And in bread mold, this is called sporangium, and these sporangium are contain sporangiophore. Geospore. And these sporangiospores are contain spores, that is scattered and get into the different places, and in the favorable condition it will germinate and form a new organism. Like after few days in the bread we will observe a white velvet like structure. These are actually the bread molds. So this is the spore formation in asexual reproduction, which will occurs in the mucor fern. The next one is the regeneration. In regeneration, the organism is produced from a single part of the organism. Like how this is occurs in planaria, also it is observed in hydra. Okay, so what happens in planaria? If this is a planaria, it will cut into the pieces. This is the each of the piece of this body able to produce a new planaria. Okay, so this is called the regeneration, where any part of the body of an organism is able to produce a new organism, which is known as regeneration. So next one is the vegetative propagation. This vegetative propagation, that is mainly occurs in plants, where the new organisms are grown from the vegetative part of the plant body. That is vegetative propagation. Okay, so what are the vegetative part in the plant? First one is the root, second one is the stem, and third one is the leaf. Okay, so in this part we will only remember the only study the example and the parts of the vegetative part. That is, from the root, the example, that is sweet potato. The sweet potato reproduce through the vegetative part, that is root. In stem, that is potato, we know we call the potato eye or eye of the potato. Eye of the potato. Okay, and from the leaf, that is bryophyllum. We know the bryophyllum leaf if okay. So the new plant or new organism is generated from the every notch of the leaf. Okay, like this. So this is the example of vegetative propagation through leaf. The next one, these are the natural processes, but there have some artificial processes also. These are called that artificial artificial propagation. In artificial propagation, there are 4 types. Number 1 is cutting. Okay. Number 2 is grafting. Number 3 is layering. And number 4, that is tissue culture. Okay. So first one is the cutting. The plant part like stem, it cutted and it is placed into the a well-drained soil or nutrient content soil, inserted into the nutrient content soil, and after few days it will generate a new leaves and it will form a new plant. This is the process of cutting. Next one is the grafting. That is, there need 2 plants. In grafting, 2 plants. Number 1, and number 2. Okay. So we need to grow the first one. So what we have to do? We do cut the both plant. Next, our desired plant is 1. Desired plant is 1. So we will do okay. So this is the 2 and this is the 1. The desired plant is grafted with the plant which is known as stalk, and the desired plant which is grafted upon with this is known as scion. Okay. So the desired plant is scion, which is not directly attached with the soil, but the stalk directly attached with the soil, and this area is masked with the grafting tape. After few days, this portion will filled up with the cell division and a new plant is generated. The cutting is example of cutting in used in rose or hibiscus. Okay. In grafting, that is mango, guava. Okay. The next one is the layering. In layering, In layering, like this is a plant. The stem is bent down into the soil. Okay, so this is the soil surface and it is bent down and inserted into the soil, a few parts of the stem. After few days, there have occurs or appearance of root in the inserted soil part. Then it will cut from the mother plant, and this part of the or this generated root part of the plant is grown with an individual organism, and this is happens in jasmine. So you have to remember the processes and their examples. And one short question which is came from the grafting, that is stalk and scion. Okay, these are the very important terms, that is what is stalk and what is scion. The third one, the fourth one is the tissue culture. Okay, so what is tissue culture? Here in tissue culture, from the name you can understand that we do not need the whole plant. The few tissue or plant part is taken. Like a plant part is taken into a culture media. This is the plant part. A few parts of the plant, especially this is taken from the budding region where the meristematic tissue are present. What is the meristematic tissue? The meristematic tissue are the tissues which are continuously growing tissues or present the growing cells. They are never get matured. So this plant part or the tissue is known as callus. Okay, and this culture media is prepared with nutrient and some special hormone which promote the growth, that is first number auxin, also the few amount of cytokinin are added. So this is the first step. After a few days, after the development or growth of the callus, it will transfer into another culture media. Another culture media. And this condition, it will develop a new cell mass which is known as embroid. Okay, and in the last step, after the development of embroid, it will develop a tiny plant. A tiny plant which is known as plantlet. Okay, so this is the process of tissue culture, and the tissue or the part of the plant is taken a very small piece. That's why this is also known as micropropagation. Micropropagation. So the another name of the tissue culture is known as micropropagation. So this is about the asexual reproduction occurs in the living organism, These are the types, that is fission, budding, fragmentation, spore formation, regeneration, and vegetative propagation. And there have some artificial propagation also. Why artificial? Because these are the man-made. Okay, so that's why, or the new organisms or new plant are generated in artificial method. That's why this is called artificial propagation. Next, we will learn about the alteration of generation. Here we have learned that the fern is reproduced through asexual reproduction. In which process? That is spore formation. But in case of fern, they get reproduced in both, that is asexual as well as sexual reproduction, where the gamete formation occurs. So this is the process of, and this is called the alteration of generation. Alteration means the changing of generation. The few part or few zygote, that is few organisms, get into the vegetative propagation, and few of them get into the gamete formation. Okay, so we will learn here how. That is first step. If this is a spore mother cell, okay, spore is produced. In the second step, that is the spore which contain the haploid number of chromosome. We know that diploid and haploid. In our previous class, we have already discussed, that is diploid mean 2n and haploid mean n. In diploid number of chromosome present in body cell, and the haploid number of chromosome or half number of chromosome of the body cell is present in reproductive cells. That is sperm and ovum. Okay, this is the haploid and diploid. So haploid is denoted through n and diploid is denoted through 2n. So this spore mother cell produce spores, and these spores then produce the gametophyte. The gametophyte produce the gender specific or sex specific gametes, that is called archegonium in case of female, that is female gamete. This is female, and antheridium, which is the male. Antheridium is the male and archegonium is the female. Then the two gametes, that is antheridium and archegonium, get fused and produce the zygote, which is 2n, because the antheridium is n and archegonium is n, produce the 2n, which is the zygote. Then this zygote, few of them get rich into the developing sporophyte, that is producing spores and development stage, but few of them get fertilized and produce the spores, and they undergoes to the meiosis. We know why meiosis is important, because to maintain the cell number, the chromosome number in a population of a species. So it is important because zygote have 2n. If the spores get 2n, then it will produce the gametophyte 2n, and then antheridium get 2n and archegonium get 2n. When the zygote is formed in next step, it will go 4n. This is not possible, and so that's why they undergo into the meiosis and form the spores n, and from these spores again produce gametophytes, that is male gamete and female gamete, and produce zygote. Next, another way it will produce, that is sporophytes and mature sporophytes that produce sporophyte, and that is sporangium, which is finally produce the sporangium. And these sporangium are contain spores mother cells which also produce the spores. So this part of this cycle, or the alternation generation in sperm, in fern is contain two generation, that is sporophytic, which is the vegetative reproduction, and another one is gametophytic, that is occurs due to the formation of gametes. So these two types of reproduction occurs in fern. So in exam, the question may be made to draw a diagram of that state a word diagram of alteration of generation in fern. Okay, so this is very much important to practice word diagram for the alteration of generation in sperm. So that's all for the today's video. If you like to get more such informative video, you may subscribe our YouTube channel Edwins, and also like, comment and follow our Facebook page Edwins. And if you like to get a better preparation in your exam, you may visit our website edwins.in, where you can purchase our premium version at a very low cost, where you can get unlimited study materials, mock test series, as well as the recorded classes. So please do visit right now. Thank you.